Okay, today I'm talking about how to make 100% or more in a year in the stock market. Now, I put that title up. That's not really a goal. I mean, sometimes you can make that, sometimes you can make more. On average, you probably make less a year on average. But these are the possibilities. I'm looking at Riot stock, ticker symbol RIOT, because I had shown this stock in a previous video. It's a stock that I actually have a position in now. Um, just to show the possibilities of what you could do in a year. Um, the one piece of advice I would have is you really have to take into consideration the general market. The stocks that I invest in are growth stocks. They're stocks that are, have big potential. Most of them are young, but occasionally you could get in like a stock that acts as a growth stock, which has been around, such as NVIDIA or an Apple. They're not quite growth stocks, but NVIDIA really can be considered one because of the new technology they're coming out with and revolutionizing all the time. So they move as good as any growth stock, even though they've been around a long time. Getting back to this example on Riot, and taking the general markets into consideration, I didn't invest at all from the beginning of 2022 all the way into the almost mid 2023. And by doing that, I avoided a lot of choppiness and just a downward market. And the way I did that is, I mean, you see it in Riot here. Riot never closed above the 50-day moving average, which is a screen line, going back from November 2021 all the way to March of 2023. Now, I say the general market because if I had a chart of the Qs up right now, you would see that the Qs, which is really the symbol for NASDAQ, never closed above the 50-week moving average from January 2022 to the first week it closed above the 50-week moving average was actually in January 2023. So a full year you would have been out of the market. And it really, just shows patience. I mean, just unless you're shorting stocks, which is pretty dangerous. First of all, you need a margin account, so you need a lot of money in your account. I mean, you could buy options, put options as a way to short the stock, but it's tricky to short stocks because you're really limited on gain. I mean, in a bull market, stocks could go 5 times, 10 times. I mean, if you're on a strong stock, whereas you're limited to 100%. I mean, on a shorting a stock, because beyond that is bankruptcy. It can't go any lower than that, and you get big spikes in a like when you're shorting a stock. I mean, it never goes straight down. You'll get like it'll go down 15% and come back up, spike up 10%, or go down 40% and spike back up 20%. I mean, it moves very irrationally, really, when a stock is trending downward. So with Riot, like you have here, again, you got to take into consideration in January, the Qs closed above the 50-week moving average. So I can start looking now in January. In this example, in Riot stock, in January, February, I mean, you're still below the 50-week moving average. So Riot didn't close above the 50-week moving average till May of this year, 2023. Another thing you look for, when you're buying a stock, which is something I've shown in previous videos, you look for a stock with momentum, which Riot had. Then it formed its first stage base. Again, you're below the 50-week moving average on this first stage base. I consider the first down week to be the first week of the base. So you have a 5-week base before it broke out, which is very good. That's what you're really looking for, is 5-week or longer. Like on a very, very strong stock, you can get a 3-week, 4-week base, but it's so rare to get something like that. You really want 5 weeks of consolidation, sideways action. If I would have spotted this, which I didn't, I was on actually other stocks at the time, a good buy point would have been when it just broke out of its 50-week, broke through its 50-week moving average in May. Because again, the Qs were above the 50-week moving average, closed above the 50-week moving average in May, and Riot just broke through. Just as soon as it broke through, would be a good buy point, and then you're using a tight stop as the 50-week. For it to close below that 50-week moving average would be my stop. So you're really not risking much at all, less than 5% you're risking on that trade. So that's a good risk reward, where you're risking only 5%, and you'll see the reward end of it, what happens with the stock. So it broke through the 50-week moving average. Again, there's my entry point there. I didn't get in this time, but I'll show you where I did get in later on. It took off, ran into resistance around this $10 mark. You could have sold, again, if you got in, say, around $7.50. So if you would have sold 50% of your position at $10, you would have made a 33% return right there. Held the rest of your money in there. It went up to roughly about $14 after that. So again, you got it at $7.50. You could close out the whole position for 100% gain. I mean, once it ran into some resistance here, close to 100% gain. Or you could have stayed in with 50% of your position, or maybe sold off a little more. I personally probably would have sold off, making 100% that quickly, especially with the following week being such a bad week. So maybe I would have made 70%, 60% on that trade and waited for another setup. I wouldn't forget about it, because that's exactly what happened. You had a nice double bottom base form over the next about 9 weeks or so. Again, starting with that first red candle, perfectly came off that 20-week moving average here. Nice double bottom with a really good double bottom. You want to see the second bottom undercut the first bottom, and then you want to see either volume dry up here, or you want to see a long wick, something that shows heavy buying by institutional investors, and that's what that is. When you see a lot of volume, or you see these wicks, it's big players coming into the stock. So that formed a nice double bottom stock. This is where I did get in my buy point here. If you put a descending line through here, I got in right about the 10-week moving average, this blue line, about $12.15, because as soon as it broke this descending trend line, that's when I entered in. So I got in about $12.15 again. It's now at $17.51. I consider the breakout at about $14.90, because the breakout is when you get above the highest point of the chart. So with the trend line entry point, you're getting in below that, so you're giving yourself, again, more profit to get in. And yeah, again, always remember to set stops, because it could go against you. It doesn't mean these always work. My stop was below, I believe, the 10-week moving average, which it never, of course, hit. Just took off from there on a lot of volume here. Yeah, so now I'm up. I'll consider taking profits this week. I'm going to see how it acts this week. It's above that $15 resistance level, so that's really going to act as support. Again, I'll consider taking some off the table then now, maybe about 50%. See how this goes this week. If it's a really explosive stock, I might hold on to it. I definitely intend on taking some off the table when it reaches that $20 mark. Again, I'm at $12. I would consider, if it really hits it hard, comes down hard, I would consider maybe closing my position. But most likely, I'll probably take 50% off when it hits that $20 mark. Again, if I run into some heavy resistance this week, or going into next week, I might consider taking some off the table. Although there's really nothing there to the $20 mark. It really should hit the $20 mark before running into some resistance. And again, getting in at $12.15, hitting 20, I'm up 70-something% on that trade already. And then I could, hang in there with the rest in case it's very strong. I still have a lot in there. And again, that becomes 70%. We're 7 months through the year. This is on one trade. Obviously, there's a lot of other stocks out there. That shows the potential on what you can make in a trade. I mean, patience is really the key. I was out of stocks. I kept my eye on it every day. You really should, because they change at the moment's notice. But I was out of stocks from 2022 to 2023. On the long end, I did make a couple of put options where I was successful overall, but they are, it is tricky when you're shorting the market. Yeah, I really like being on the long side when we're we're in a bull market, which we're in, right now. Um, yeah, so that's about it. If you enjoy this type of please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll have more coming soon. And I thank you for watching. And I always close with that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I just follow the market closely myself. I am an investor, and just enjoy, bringing it to you. I hope it's helpful. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.